not a game, it's a rich thing.
What's up, y'all? It is Tasha. I am back with another video. Thank you so much for stopping into my channel. If you are new here and that subscribe button is not clicked that you are subscribed, go ahead and take a second and do that just real quick. It's free 99 for you to do it. You already here, just hit the subscribe button. Okay. All right. If you are not new here, welcome back. Y'all know how we get down with these videos, okay? Leave your comments in the comment section because these 3 episodes that Netflix put out today, let's talk about it. Let's get into Love is Blind season 4 episodes 9, 10, and 11. Okay. Episode 9, it's 10 days until the wedding. Jackie and Marshall, they return home from the party. Poor Marshall, he's so hurt. He just don't know what to do. He is totally unsure about marrying her. He asked her, you know, what do you need from me so I know how to move forward? She's like, oh, it's so late. I just want to talk about it tomorrow. Like, it's midnight. Oh my God, can we just talk about this tomorrow? And he's like, I kind of want to talk about it now because, you know, when you leave in the morning, I'm not going to be up. We won't get a chance to talk. And it's just going to be, you know, heavy on my spirit what's happening between the two of us. So if we could, let's just go ahead and talk now. And she's like, I really don't expect anything from you. You're doing great. Lies, Jackie. Lies, because you want a thug. And Marshall's not a thug. He's not doing everything great. Stop lying to him and to us and possibly yourself. He says it's really time to protect his feelings after talking to Brett at the party and really not base his feelings on how she is feeling. He still wants to talk about it. Jackie gaslights the situation, act like everything is okay, hugs him from the back, and it's just like, just love me. You are a great guy. Just love me. Girl, this man is not Boo Boo the Fool. He knows something is off. And you sitting here acting like, oh no, it's all you. I'm fine. You're great. I love you. We're fine. This is fine. We're going to be fine. No, it's not. Stop acting like he ain't hearing and seeing what he hearing and seeing, girl. Just be honest. Okay, grow up. Bliss meets Zach family, and at this point, I really didn't care. I just really want Bliss to embarrass him at the altar. I know it's not going to happen, but that's what I really want deep down inside. But anyway, she gushes over him, just goes on and on and on about how great he is. Yeah, if he didn't dump you in the pods and chose to ask somebody else to marry him, maybe he'll be, you know, this great guy that you're saying that he is. But anyway, his family, you know, is crying and snotting all over them. And I guess, you know, they're going to live happily ever after, y'all. Let's move on. So Kwame and Chelsea, they are shopping. And Kwame, he just seems very annoyed throughout this whole scene. And he said that this morning he asked her how she was doing. And she just kind of looked at him and was like, do I sound okay? Chelsea gives me those kind of vibes that she's passive aggressive. It was just weird because he's telling us this, but yet she's just like shopping around the store as if they are having the most amazing day ever of picking up things. And, ooh, what do you think about some more biker shorts? And can you hold this? And what about that? And let's go to the fitting room. And how does this look? Do I look hot or no? Girl, why are you acting like everything is okay? And clearly, y'all not okay. All right. Kwame says that he needs space and he feels like he is always in her space. These whole 3 episodes, I feel like Kwame was just looking for an out, like trying to say things to validate why he should not go through with this and why he's going to say no. But we'll see what happens, okay? And throughout this whole interaction, it's almost like Chelsea is fishing for compliments. And I'm like, is she drunk? Did she drink a lot? Because just the 1 + 1 is not equaling 2. It's like they have dealt with completely different people and are experiencing 2 different total realities at this point. So she finally talks to him and he starts telling her that she is very confrontational. She says, no, I'm just pretty much direct. But y'all know I don't really get down with Kwame like that. But in this instance, he is right. Like, she is a bit confrontational in the way that she speaks. Because even in this same situation of if he asked you how you were doing, you should have just been able to say, I'm not doing okay. X, Y, and Z has me upset. Can we talk about it? Instead of being passive aggressive and confrontational and saying, do I sound okay? Like, that's going to give you ready to nuck if you buck. I'm sorry. Like, you really didn't have to go there. That's not being direct, Chelsea. But essentially, he wants to find a way to get back to himself. He says he has no support here in Washington. And of course, she has a lot of support because her family is here. And he says he just needs them to be each other's peace. And he says he doesn't have that right now. She asks him if he still sees himself as saying yes at the altar. And he says yes. And I said, lies. The lies. The lies. In my Candy Bird's voice. Lying. You lying, Kwame. So we then see Tiffany and Brett. They meet with Brett's friends, and they just continue to look so adorable and so like my face lights up when they come on my TV screen. Okay, so they are telling them why they chose each other, and y'all, the way they are looking at each other this entire time, like just the depth of love and infatuation and how they just look like they simply adore each other when they look at each other, y'all. I absolutely love it. Like, this man looks like he is ready to get her pregnant as we speak, okay? But he just says, you know, she is just so amazing, and his friends are just so supportive. And even when his friends is like, the way y'all are looking at each other, it's like it's beyond the words that y'all are saying. Like, the actions and what I'm seeing is just like, I love this. I love this black love. And I was like, friend, I love this black love too. Like, I am here for all of this Brett and Tiffany love. Okay. So we then see Micah and Paul. They go out for drinks and talk about, you know, how all of her things won't fit in his place. And it's like, she doesn't really want to compromise. She's kind of asking him about moving to Arizona when this man don't even work remotely. I'm like, Micah, what? Here you and Chelsea go, okay? Like, this, y'all cut it out. She asks how he would feel with them living separately for a little while, and he's like, no. And once again, most married people would just be like, no, we're married, we're going to live under one roof. But again, this is kind of just giving me more reason as to why maybe her and Kwame should be together. Like, I think he would just follow her around like a little long lost puppy, and wherever she wants to go, he wouldn't be complaining about leaving, you know, the way he's complaining about really not wanting to leave to come to Seattle now for Chelsea. That's just the vibe that I'm getting. We then see Zach meet Bliss mom and sisters. One of her sisters asks how they got here. They tell them about the whole premise of the show, and I'm just like, we are in season 4 of Love is Blind. Are you still telling me people have no clue what Love is Blind is, or you people are not telling your family and friends that you are going on a TV show called Love is Blind, and you may potentially come back with a fiance? Y'all just leaving out all of that information. Y'all just going off the grid with no phone, no communication, and no nothing, not telling the people that you love something. I'm not buying it, okay? He says all these great things about Bliss. His sister says, you know, she wants someone for her sister that knows her worth. And she is nobody's second choice. And I was like, I guess he knows her worth now. I guess. I don't know. But he tells them the whole situation of what went down of, you know, when you're in the pod and you're talking to different people, and you're making these connections. And the thing about it is, you may make a connection with more than one person. And that happened to me. And Bliss was kind of looking like, so that's what we doing? You decided that that's what we're going to do on the first meeting of my sisters and my mama? We going to have this conversation? You could have warned me that we was going to bust out this conversation? That's how she was looking at him like, okay, here we go. So Bliss is like, so we just gonna tell them everything, huh? And he was like, yes, let's just go ahead and talk about it. So he says, it was all this uncertainty, and he just wasn't sure in the real world if they would work, if he and Bliss would work. And I was like, but you were sure with Raggedy Irina? Okay, Zach, let's feed the family anything, okay? But he basically kind of just glazes over all the other details, which I can appreciate. And I think her sisters and her mom would appreciate, him not really going into how, she was doing all these things for him, and he still chose this girl who's ugly on the inside and out over, their family member. Zach then tells a story, of course, about how he grew up in poverty, hearing about telling her family how he was afraid that they would not be accepted of him because of how Bliss told them that she grew up, because he's had other women in the past that are, I guess, from, rich or pretty well off families, that once they found out how he grew up, they basically kind of judged him and ended up leaving him. And I hate to say it, y'all. I hate to say, but I don't know if I'm buying this whole story of him just growing up so broken, so poor. And then as an adult, you're telling other adults that you're in a relationship with how you grew up, and they're making decisions to not be with you based on how you grew up, which if that's how you grew up, it was out of your control. Like, I'm not buying this sob story. I feel like he wants some sympathy. He wants us to feel bad. He wants us to just be like, oh, poor Zach. And I don't know why, but something in my spirit is not buying this whole like poverty, grew up with nothing, mom was a stripper. I'm just not buying this story. I hope he's not playing with this and is not putting on an act, but they crying, they snotting, they happy she was the second choice, so we gonna move on with it too, okay? So we did see Kwame meets Chelsea's mom, the rest of her family. She brags about Kwame to her family, about all his education and all his accolades. And again, I'm gonna sound horrible, but I low-key felt like she was selling him to her family. Like, it felt like the same thing he said he does to himself, of he leads with with his job, his education, and all this stuff, rather than leading with who he is as a person, to try to gain acceptance over people that I guess would normally not accept him just the way he is. And it's happening again with her saying it, him coming out the gate of saying, what he does for work because her family asks, instead of kind of who he is as a person. Kwame talks to her mom alone, and the mom is just asking things that's like truly are not relevant. Do you like Rocky? Do you like dogs? Now, did you have a dog growing up? Like, mama, shut up. Like, all that, you don't know this man. And I don't think the fact that if the dog likes him or he likes dogs is really the critical questions we need to be asking him at this moment. Like, I was so confused about this whole interaction, this whole family gathering. It just, again, it felt like, oh, we're happy for you, Chelsea. Can't you see? That's what it was given. That's what it was given. But anyway, her mom even asked, when he came to the States, and let him know that they have, a lot of family time, and hopefully he likes that as he joins their family. And he's like, well, based on the amount of hugs I got, I think I have their blessing, so let's go get married. And I was just like, okay. So the ladies go wedding dress shopping, the guys go look for tux, but Jackie is MIA. But yet Marshall is shopping for a tux. And then everybody goes, where's Jackie? So Tiffany texts Brett and tells him that Jackie isn't here, and asks if Marshall is there. And child, Marshall is over there shopping for a tux, going on and on with his friends, talking about Jackie is the apple of his eye. He loves her so much, he just can't wait. And I'm like, are we talking about the same Jackie? Oh. Do y'all know how the other person feel about? I'm confused. So Brett pulls Marshall aside and tells him, Jackie didn't show up for the wedding dress fit, and I ain't want you to be blindsided. I just think you should know. And poor Marshall, y'all. Marshall don't know what to think. He looks like he was completely gut punched of like, I'm here, which is supposed to be a really good occasion of me getting fitted and buying a tux for my wedding day. And I found out that my fiance is not shopping for her wedding dress as she should be. Like, yikes. And then we pan over to Jackie. She's at a coffee shop. She's waiting for someone. We already know who she's waiting for. She's waiting for that busted ear, dangling earring Josh is who she's waiting for, okay? So he comes in with flowers. They hug. And all I can say is, WTF, Jackie. Like, let's just move on to the next episode, y'all. Because episode 10 picks up right where that one left off. And Jackie tells us that she was attracted to Josh when she saw him. And I was like, girl, like Josh is the type of person that he has that initial cuteness. You know, when you pass by a guy and you look and you like, oh, like, and it makes you do a double take. But when you actually then look at him, you're like, oh, no, thank you. I thought something else. No, thanks. That's what Josh gives to me, is that initial is like, oh, he might be kind of, no, not really. It's all right. I'll pass. That's what he gives me. But it's 7 days before her wedding, and she's kikiing in the face of the man that she knows has feelings for her. So he tells her that it's important for her to know how he feels, and then asks where her head is at. And she says, Marshall is just too sensitive to me. And, after I kind of told him that, he then left for 3 days. And that's when I really needed him to boss up. And he was like, he ran away, right? No man wants to hear you need to boss up and expect him just to stick around for whatever other verbal abuse you want to give him, and then get upset when he chooses himself and his mental health and leaves for a few days. Jackie, you's out here sounding like you sounding stupid, because I don't know what you expected this man to do. You're acting like because you stayed, you were the bigger person. No, you weren't. You were verbally abusive to him, telling him to boss up, knowing the past that he's had with his dad, and acting like this man ain't a man. Like, you already know he's sensitive, girl. Stop it. So she says she robbed herself from the jump, and she chose wrong, and she could see herself marrying Josh, but she is afraid. But she is willing to be with him to see where things go. Jackie, you're a piece of shit. I'm sorry, you are. I don't care what's going on in your life. No one deserves this type of treatment that you are giving to Marshall right here in this moment. I just don't even understand how you can do all of this and not share with the person you're supposed to be marrying in a week that you don't even want to be married to them. Like, how you go on a whole date with somebody else and tell them that you like them and you'll be interested to see where things go without even breaking it off from the person that you're supposed to be marrying in 7 days. You just might be worse than Irina. I'm sorry, Jackie, you are trash. So Marshall then tells his friends that she didn't show up to her dress fit, and they say that is trash, and we all agree. I appreciate them being honest with him. But he says he still loves her, but he is really done talking. And y'all, I felt so bad for Marshall. I felt so bad because he's just so sensitive, and I knew that was and is too much for Jackie, but the way she essentially just let him on, acting like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you, just love me, you're always just so sweet, when you know that's not what you like. Granted, that's probably exactly what your roughneck tail needs, but that's not what you want, and he can't make himself be the man that you want. So we then see that Vanessa meets the girls at the bridal shop. Nick meets the guys at the tuxedo shop, and they share, who they brought with them as they're shopping today. Kwame, oddly enough, brought one of the guys from the pods, and I'm like, so you ain't had nobody else, no friends, no family, nobody to come tuck shop with you besides somebody you just met in the pod a few weeks ago? Maybe they couldn't make filming. I don't know, but it was weird to me. The guys get fitted, pick out the colors of their tux. The ladies try on wedding dresses with Micah's hating ass friend in tow. Child, she hating so bad when Micah has her dress on and she's having a moment with her mom. The mom was crying, Micah's crying, almost everybody else in the bridal shop is crying. Hating ass friend got the stone cold look in her face and isn't fazed by all the emotion that is happening around her. I'm like, girl, you really hating on your friend. I mean, I was hating that Micah picked out this ugly plain dress, but your friend, girl, Micah, you might want to reevaluate y'all friendship after you watch this show, girl. That's all I got to say. So we see that Kwame at the tuck shop continues to complain that he is the one doing all of the changes and making all of the sacrifices. Once again, sort of like Bliss, I want her to shut up about being second choice. I want Kwame to shut up about the sacrifices he is making. You either make the sacrifices and enjoy it, or you don't make the sacrifices and you leave. But we do not need to keep hearing about the sacrifices you are making. Like, we already know. They're not changing, and we've heard it all before, Kwame. So just suck it up, Buttercup. He says if either of them say no, it's really a scary step backwards. But I'm like, is it not a scary step forward if you do it not feeling 100% sure that you should be doing this? I mean, yes, you met somebody, you were engaged, and you're about to get married. But in the grand scheme of things, it's only like 2 or 3 months of your life that, you know, didn't produce anything. So I think you would be just fine if things didn't work out, okay? So Chelsea picks a dress, Zach picks a suit, Bliss picks a dress, and y'all know how it goes on from there. More dresses, more tears. Bliss and Micah's dress, I didn't care for those, but Chelsea and Tiffany's dress, I like their dresses that they selected. So y'all, now we see Marshall get back to the apartment. Jackie has the nerve to already be at the apartment, sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone like it's just a regular old Saturday afternoon, and Marshall is coming in from playing basketball with his friend's child. He comes in and he immediately sits down and he tells her that he needs answers. She said what she felt in the pause was real, but the outside world got to them. And he said, got to us or got to you? And I say, you better say that, Marshall, because she trying to put the blame on both y'all. And the blame is not on the both y'all. The blame is on her at this moment. And she says she was just fed up. And the turning point was Marshall continuing to question her and go after her that night once they got home, and he really just wanted to know where she was and how she was feeling, and she just really didn't want to go to bed and talk about it the next day. And I said, Jackie, do you hear how stupid that sounds, that was the straw that broke the camel's back for you, because he wanted to talk and you really just wanted to go to bed and talk about it the next day? How many discussions and disagreements and conversations you think you're gonna have if you marry somebody? Conversations and discussions and disagreements that you may not always want to have when they are happening. Girl, you sound stupid, okay? She says that he requires a lot of security, and I was like, no. I actually think he just requires somebody to be kind and honest with him. I think you, on the other hand, require a lot of security a lot of security and toxic love is what you require. So that's the vibe that I'm getting. She says she really didn't have that feeling for Marshall. Like everyone says, you'll just have that feeling and you'll just know it wasn't there for her. And she can't love him because she is attracted to Josh, and tells him that she just saw him and there is chemistry there. And I said, Jackie, you bitch, you just let me stick the knife in. I know I've turned it once, but let me turn it one more good time for good measure to make sure I really gutted you, okay? She tells Marshall that she doesn't want to be with him anymore. She will find out if the person she wants to be with is in fact Josh. Marshall is completely stunned. He tells her that he wants the ring back because she does not deserve it and she should have never accepted it. She says she wants to keep it because everything in the pod was real. I said, Jackie, if you want to keep the ring to pawn the ring to get the money, just say that. But the fact that you acting like because what y'all experienced in the pod and on that little Mexico trip, which was all of what, maybe 2-3 weeks of this whole experiment, is worth you having a whole diamond engagement ring, girl. No. No. And any woman that's now breaking off an engagement should at least have the decency to give a man his engagement ring back, because the engagement ring is a promise to marry that person. If you don't marry them, you should give it back. I'm sorry. Especially if she is breaking it up, you need to give it back. So Marshall is like, you know what? Whatever, girl. Keep it. Do whatever you want to do with it. But I hope it's, a reminder of you chose wrong and seeing what you basically let go in me. Marshall packs up his things. He says he chose wrong. And I don't think he necessarily chose wrong. I think he chose Jackie based on what Jackie showed him in the pods, which was obviously her representative. And once they got out into the real world, Jackie showed the true Jackie. And at that point, he was already falling in love with her, that it was then, I believe, hard for him to pull back. Poor Marshall. I think Josh is who she needs. Josh seems to be a terrible human being. She seems to be a terrible human being. And just go let them be terrible and toxic together, okay? Like, Marshall, you dodge a bullet. She plays stupid games and she's going to win a stupid prize with Josh if she decides to be with him. Now she's saying, as they are wrapping up, she's saying, I don't even know if I, am going to be with Josh. But girl, you told Josh we can give it a try and see where it goes. And then she says, well, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I need to do some self-work. And that's probably the most real thing you've said this entire time. The most honest you have been is in this very moment of, yes, you need lots of self-work done before you involve yourself in anybody else in a relationship with you, ma'am. You check in with yourself first. And start that healing process before you invite somebody else in, okay? So Chelsea and Kwame, they go take engagement pictures, but they want them to be sexy. And apparently they didn't even tell the photographer what they were taking pictures for, what kind of pictures they wanted, because they got to explain all of this, child. And I can't believe I was saying this in the moment as I was saying this to myself, but Chelsea was getting on my nerves, okay? She was getting on my nerves because as they were doing this photo shoot, I just felt like she was so infatuated with the idea of having a husband and being married. But I'm not sure if Kwame is the one she actually wants to do that with. But I think she's convinced herself that he is the one that she loves so much and she wants to do life with. Like, I'm not getting that vibe. I'm getting that Chelsea had a vision of maybe by a certain age, and that age probably has now passed, and she's at this age now, and she should have been married already, starting on some kids already. She's always imagined having this type of photo shoot with her fiance, and it was just like, let's insert and drop in husband. Whoever that person is, I really don't care. I just need a man to fill that spot for me to complete the vision of what I have in my head for all these things that I want. That's what I was getting. And y'all, they gonna crash and burn. Kwame then comes in with the doubt, of course, says he needs to, square a lot away with his mom, have another conversation with her. And on the last video I made, and even some other reviews I watched, they think that Kwame was not on the phone with his mom, that it was just like, he's just pretending as if he's on the phone with his mom. I don't think so. I just think his mom didn't give the permission to use her voice because she clearly does not want to be on the show because she does not agree with it. Because I truly think, Chelsea was still in the apartment. If he had his mom on speakerphone, like, she would have clearly heard if he wasn't talking to anyone. And I'm sorry, the Love is Blind producers be shady AF sometimes. And I think they probably would have put him on blast if he was not truly talking to anybody on the phone. They would have found a way to let us know that Kwame just playing in our faces, okay? Chelsea then asks him again if he thinks he is ready for marriage, and he says, I love you a lot. And I immediately said, girl, that's a no. Anything other than absolutely yes, I want to marry you is a no. And I think Chelsea knows that. She's just trying to get him to say it. She doesn't want to be blindsided at the altar with him saying no. Even though deep down inside, that's why she keeps asking him over and over again, because I think she feels like it's a no. And she's trying to prepare herself for that, or trying to just make sure they're on the same page that they are going to say yes. But again, I've heard from plenty of men, when they know, they know. When they are sure, they are sure. And the fact that this man really never has really a yes, and a confident yes, and yes, I want to marry you and be with you, when you ask him that, it's a no. Anything other than a yes is a no. So we then see Tiffany in distress. Brett just comes in looking fine, smiling at her. I was like, girl, if you don't get yourself a bouquet, get that dress on and walk down this aisle and marry your husband, like you doing, all this really ain't necessary. We know we all want to have the wedding, but it really ain't necessary. But she cries. Of course, he comforts her, tells her everything is going to be okay, because she's just so stressed out. And about, getting everything done in the week, the bridesmaids dresses, the flowers, all this other stuff. And I'm like, girl, you already knew the time was going to be crunched. Get what you can get done in a week, and what you can't get done, it'll be fine. Y'all are still going to get married. It'll be fine. Okay. So we then see Micah and Paul go make their own wedding bands. And I ain't gonna lie, this was a little bit cute. I'm not exactly mad at it 100%. We see Kwame calls his mom again, so that he can tell her, where she is coming from. His call goes to voicemail. Then he calls his brother. His brother said, I did talk to mom, but didn't talk to her about this situation. It's really hard to change her mind once she's made her mind up about something. And Kwame tells Kwame that he really just has to stand up for himself and make the decision that's best for himself, not for their mother. We then see Brett. Brett takes Tiffany on this little plane ride in hopes of making her feel calmer and de-stress her. And girl, when I saw what this man did, I said, I want a Brett. Give me a Brett. Okay? I will take a Brett all day long. Give them to me. Okay? And then after they get off of the plane, he then surprises her with dinner and engagement photos that he took of her. I was like, Brent, where is your brother, cousin, daddy, stepdaddy, stepbrother, third cousin removed, best friend, whoever it is? Where is he that acts just like you? I'm asking for a friend. I'm asking for a friend. Where is he? Just checking. But he says that he even surprises himself with how ready he is to marry her, because he has no doubt, and I absolutely love that he has no doubt about it. Okay. She then shares that it was a lot of pressure, not only from planning the wedding, but also from her family, because, she's just still trying to tell them the process and what happened, and letting them know that, although you have never met him, I really love him. Like, you just got to kind of trust me on this. But she just appreciates how calm he's been throughout this whole ordeal, as she's dealing with a lot with the wedding in her family. So we watched the entire episode almost without Bliss and Zach, and I wasn't mad at it. I didn't miss them one bit, but here they are on our TV. But he is meeting with her dad and stepmom, and child, Bliss daddy ain't here for the BS. Okay. So Bliss stepmom and sister, child, they came in here, the fur on, the sunglasses on. I said, y'all celebrities, what is happening here? Okay. His dad wants to get to know Zach, and Zach is just being socially awkward. He starts talking about the law and different crimes and criminals. And I was just like, where is this coming from? Like, reel it in, sir. This is not somebody who wants to know about your career. He wants to know about you, the person that's possibly marrying his daughter. Okay. Zach just basically looks real crazy in the eyes during this whole interaction with her family. Y'all, I'm sorry. He looked darn right creepy. Like, his eyes and his hair, like, it was just something about the whole thing of him looking like he would keep her in the basement chained to the radiator and just keep telling her, I'm only doing this for your own good because I love you so much. Like, he is giving me Lifetime movie vibes. I am just, Zach is creepy. Zach, something is off here, okay? But anyway, as they're talking, her dad and stepmom is not buying any of what Zach is trying to sell, okay? The dad is being a total realist of like, y'all ain't really setting yourself up for success here. And again, I'm always torn because these people are grown adults. They're your children, but they are adults. You got to let them make whatever decisions they're going to make. If it's a mess up, just be there to support them when they crash and burn, okay? Zach excuses himself because you can clearly see her daddy is not with the shits. And she says that she would not have the ring on her finger if she did not love him, and she wouldn't just get married just to get married. And the daddy said, well, that's what you're doing. And y'all, I hollered. I hollered because I said, no, the daddy is not throwing. The daddy throwing complete shade. Okay. All right, let's wrap up with episode 11. Kwame told Chelsea that he didn't want her to take his name until he got the okay from his mom. He says it isn't fair to his mom that's raised him 32 years to basically just throw all that away with this one decision that he will make to get married. We then find out his dad doesn't even know what's happening. Of course, we know his mom doesn't agree. Chelsea tells him that she fell in love with him for himself. You know, she is at peace with what's happening, and she says she doesn't care what his family or her family thinks about what's happening because she's just doing this for her and it's what she wants to do. Kwame says that he wants them both to be happy and they just need to consider all factors. Again, every episode, he's just giving hints of, I'm going to say no, I'm going to say no, I'm going to say no, and I want you to be okay with me saying no. So Bliss and Zach, we see them hanging out in the hot tub. Child, I really wasn't paying attention, but they talk about being afraid because both of their parents got divorced. Bliss says she's loved him more than she's loved anybody else, and she just wants it to feel fully right for him. And I'm like, girl, what are you saying? He's the one that came groveling back and you said yes. So what do you mean you wanted to feel right for him? Huh? Make it make sense. So Bliss, nope, sorry, not them. Tiffany meets Brett's dad and brother, and his father hasn't been, dad and brother. And his dad hasn't been on a plane in years and got on one to come, of course, see them and come join them at the wedding. And Brett's brother's hair is doing a little bit too much. You got another brother other than this brother that's more of your speed, Brett, because just asking for a friend once again. They talk about not expressing a lot of emotions in their family, and his dad thinks they made a great connection with how he and Tiffany are with each other. And I just completely love how supportive not only, their friends have been, both of their families have been. Like, it's just been like a fairy tale almost with the two of them of how much they not only love and connect with each other, but how the people around them that love them are just so supportive in what they're doing. Even if they don't completely understand it, they are showing us on this TV. They are united front, okay? It's one day into the weddings, and we see that Paul is packing up since Micah is going to stay at the apartment, and he's going to leave. The guys all get together because they're going to have a bachelor party. The ladies get together to have a bachelorette party. Chelsea says, I don't know if they're going to be strippers here at our bachelorette party, but anybody that's here, my fiance is 10 times hotter. And I was like, girl, I'm happy that you love Kwame's stinking draws, but girl, it ain't giving all of that. It just ain't giving. He ain't giving. But, she's getting loose in her little tiny dress, showing us her underwear and all. And I said, I guess live your best single life for one more night. Over the guys' bachelor party, they get a little burlesque show. And I'm like, what made y'all think this is sexy? This is what they would want. None of the guys are paying attention because they're just like, I'm not into the burlesque show of it all, okay? Back over at the girls, Chelsea keeps telling the story about how, me and Kwame, our love story is just like this long, slow dance. He just gives me a feeling I've never felt before. You're not convincing us at this point. You're trying to convince yourself, baby girl. That's all I got to say. She confirms to her friends that his mom isn't coming to the wedding. He tells the guys that his brother and sister are being really supportive, and it really kind of blows him sometime when he sees how supportive her family is. Kwame gets a little bit emotional that his mom isn't coming, and I just feel like this is going to weigh on him heavily in the decision that he has to make at the altar. His friend then asks if he is saying yes, and he just laughs. Y'all, this is probably about the third, fourth, fifth, sixth time in these 3 episodes that he's been asked kind of what he's going to say, and he's not giving us a resounding yes. I'm going to say yes. So Brett shares that he's never been in love before, and his friend is like, well, how do you know you love her? This man said he finds himself thinking about her. He's imagining what she would be as a mother. He's just thinking about what he can do for her every day. Tiffany, you better hold on to Brett, okay? You best to hold on tight. Don't let nobody else come in there and get that good man from you, okay? Don't do it. He says that he feels that they will say yes, but he doesn't want to be overly confident. Micah's hating-ass friend is at the party. She ends up FaceTiming Paul while they are at the bachelorette party, and she's clearly drunk, and I really want her to switch to water at this point, and I also want her to invest in some braces or Invisalign. I'm sorry, y'all. I know that's petty. But anyway, the friend comes again and says, I just know Micah just deserves everything. She just deserves the world, and this just isn't it. How do you know, ho? How do you know? Because you don't know him. Micah says she just wants him to support her. And reluctantly, the hating ass friend Shelby is like, okay, I guess. I don't know if it was the whole alcohol of it all, but Chelsea was giving me totally codependency vibes on Paul, that y'all can't be separated for a few hours. Where he's like, I miss him. I want to see him. coming to the bachelor party, girl. You're doing too much. Too much. We didn't see that the first wedding that is up is Kwame and Chelsea's wedding. They still haven't fixed his haircut, but he's here for the wedding child. His friends show up, ask if he is ready to get him ready. Her friends show up to get her ready. Chelsea keeps yelling, I'm getting married today. I'm getting married. And I'm like, no, you're not. Shh. No, you're not. No, you're not. Kwame's sister and brother, they actually show up to support him, and I'm happy he does have some family support. His sister says that although their mom isn't there, that, she's still praying for him to be a good man, that he'll be a good husband. She'll forever love them. And she's just like, when she meets Chelsea, that we both believe she will just fall in love with her. And this is probably the first moment I thought Kwame may say yes, and it's because of how much his sister is pouring into him in this moment. Is the only reason why I think that way. His brother prays over them, and it is almost wedding time. Chelsea comes out in her wedding dress. She does look great. Her bridesmaids, of course, y'all, in all pink, because she got a thing for pink. Kwame's sister comes in to see Chelsea because she FaceTimed her, I believe, that previous night. But she comes in to give her a gift of a clutch with some kente cloth in it. So she's like, you have a little touch of Ghana with you. We see that Kwame's sister walks him down the aisle, killing it in this orange dress that she has on. Chelsea's dad walks her down the aisle, and he's being really supportive to her as well, saying that she'll make a great wife. She gets down the aisle. She hands over her bouquet to her mom. The two are at the altar, and it is now decision time. She wrote down her vows to him. She reads them off. He goes off the top of his head because he said he didn't need to write anything. And I'm going to tell you one thing. Kwame definitely got away with words. When he went through them vows, I almost believed it for a little bit. I was like, now this would have meant so much more if y'all was truly, truly in love with one another. But I just, again, don't believe that. But of course, she goes first, and I was so upset they made her go first because we all knew she was going to say yes. So she goes first. She says yes. It's now Kwame's turn. And of course, dun dun dun, the show goes off. We got to wait until next week. It is live next week at 8 p.m. Depending on what I'm doing, y'all, I might go live so we can talk about it as we are watching the episode together. If y'all are going to watch it when it comes on at 8 p.m. next Friday. But if y'all watch these 3 episodes, let me know what y'all feel about it. How y'all feel about Jackie? Do y'all think Jackie is just as trash as Irene? Because that's how I'm feeling in the moment. Again, Brett and Tiffany, for me, is the only real hope I have that will say yes and that will last. I know some of the others will say yes, but I don't think they will last. But anyway, drop y'all comments down below. We will chat it up next week when we get the season, I think it's the finale of Love is Blind. Until then, peace.